So at the end of the last video, I mentioned that we were going to get all of our sharing set up so that we could actually add, take pictures or select pictures from the gallery and then submit them to Firebase. But we've actually already done that. I just checked. I thought we hadn't uploaded the photos to Firebase in the next activity, but we've actually already done that, so we're not going to do that in this one, obviously. So instead, what we're going to do is retrieve the photos from the database and display them in the profile. And currently, if we take a look at our database, if you've done everything that I've done, then we should have one photo in there currently under here. I'll collapse everything in the user photos node and also in the photos node. So there's the one photo right there, and here's also that photo again right here. And if we go to our storage section, we can go to our photos folder and then into our users folder, and there should be, oh, I hate when it does that. There we go. And there should actually be a couple photos, or no, there should only be these two photos here, I believe. I had some test ones in there before, but I've since deleted them. So currently there's just this one photo. So now we want to retrieve this photo and display it in the profile. So let's go back to Android Studio here, and let's go into Profile Fragment, and we need to build a method. Here, I'm going to close the window here. We need to build a method to set up our grid image view, basically. So, or set up our grid view. So we have our grid view declared, and we're going to now create a method here called setup grid view to grab those images. So I'm going to say just set up grid view, and it's not going to take anything. And what we're going to use is a query to retrieve the photos from the database. So I'm just going to log that we're actually setting up the grid, setting up image grid, and now we're going to create an array list and then populate it with the photos from the database. So final, array list, and it's going to be an array list of photos, and just go photos equals new array list. Okay, and then we need our database reference. So database reference equals Firebase database dot get instance, and then get our reference. And now we need to create our query. So query equals new query. Whoops, no, it's query equals reference, and then we do all of our all of our children, so dot child, and get string r.string dot database name. We're going to look in the user photo section, and remember we did these two different sections here. So we have a photo section and a user photo section because it's going to be much faster for us to, I'm not sure if you can actually see that whole window there. It's going to be much faster for us to retrieve the photos. Hopefully you could see it when I was using it before, but anyway, it's going to be faster to retrieve the photos since we have a separate node with a child with their user ID. So immediately we can point to this node, so we don't have to iterate through every single photo that every person's ever posted and look for the user ID. That would just take way too long. So now we do child, and this is then where we pass their user ID. So we do Firebase auth, get instance, get current user, and then get user ID. And that's it. So that's going to be our query. Oops. And then we just do query add listener for single value event, new value event listener. And now we have our on data change method and our on data canceled method. And in the on data canceled method, we can just say something like query canceled. And then let's go back up into our on data change method, and actually we don't need that. We're actually just going to iterate through that snapshot that's returned. So data snapshot, I'm going to call it single snapshot since it's kind of a specific, it's a very specific snapshot. It's single snapshot, and we want to go all the way up to data snapshot.getChildren. And so now this is going to be all of our photos. So we just go photos.add, and we can do our single snapshot, and then just do get value and pass in our photo class, so photo.class, and that's it. That should add all the photos that the user has. Very, very simple. And then once this loop is complete, so this for loop right here, now we can actually set up the image grid. So set up our image grid. And first we just want to make sure that we're setting the correct width of each grid item. So we're going to get the grid width by going get resources, get display metrics, and then width pixels. And then we can do integer image width, which is going to be the width of each image, and we're going to take the grid width grid width, and we're going to divide it by a constant, so it's going to be number of grid columns, which I'm going to go and create up top here. So scroll all the way to the top, and I forgot to label this as widgets, and let's create, oh, I can do it up here actually, so just copy this one right here, and this is going to be number grid columns, and I just want 3 grid columns, I believe Instagram has. So now let's scroll back down, and there we have our constant coming through, and now we can do Gridview, Gridview dot set column width, and now we can pass our image width. So now each image is definitely going to occupy the same width no matter what, for sure, and that's exactly what we want. Now I'm going to create a new array list of image URLs so that we can actually set the images to the grid. So image URLs equals new array list, and I'm just going to do a for loop, so integer I equals 0, I is less than our photos dot size, and then I plus plus, and inside here we just do image URLs dot add, and we want to add our photos, so get I, get image path, and that's it. So then we'll have our array list of image URLs, and now we can create our grid image adapter. So grid image adapter, adapter equals new grid image adapter, and I can't, oh, it just showed me the order. It's so context first of all, so get activity, and then I think it said layout resource, yep, so r dot layout dot, I think layout grid image view is what we have. And what's the next one? Let's see. Append, we don't need to append anything since it's going to be from the internet. And then our image URLs. So image URLs. Then we just need to attach the adapter to the grid. So grid view, set adapter, adapter. Okay, and I believe that's all we need to do. We are of course going to have to actually call the method in onCreate, so I guess I'll just do it below setup Firebase auth. So setup Gridview, and I believe that's all we need to do. So I'm just going to run it and see if we get any errors. One thing actually I want to talk about while it's loading up is when we're actually doing the likes and we're doing the comments, I'll show you actually what the database looks like. So here's actually the database for my, for the test application, the test Instagram. So anyway, yeah, so in the test application, obviously I'm further ahead, and let's just take a look in the, I'm just going to collapse everything, and let's take a look in the user photos node and just look at one of the users, and so look at one of the photos. And so when we actually go to do comments and likes, it's going to be a little tricky. There's actually, I mean, I'm going to say it's a known issue with Firebase. When you put lists inside of objects like this, like we have a list of comments and we have a list of likes, it can cause problems because Firebase interprets this as a hash map instead of as an object, or instead of as a list, and it causes a problem. I know a way around it, so I'll show you that method, but if anybody else has ever experienced this, I'd be interested to see what you did, other than obviously you could create a different node for comments and create a different node for likes, but then you have a massive list of comments and likes, so it could get tricky. Or you could do, yeah, I guess you could do like users or user comments and then separate it with their user ID or something like that. But anyway, I just chose to do it this way. If anybody else has a similar experience, I'd be curious to know how you solved it. I have my way, and we're going to go over it when we get to the likes and the comments, but just kind of a preview of what is coming soon. Okay, so we have our app open. Let's go to the profile. And cool, so it did get the only photo that we have uploaded. You can see that the layout, there's something wrong with the layout though here. That line should actually be up here, so we're going to have to fix that. But before we do that, let's actually upload a new photo and make sure that everything is sharing correctly. So I'm just going to go to Instagram and choose a picture of Kiba and just do Kiba and then just do like hashtag dog and hit share. Attempting to upload a new photo. Here's the upload progress. Cool. Upload is done, and it navigated us to the main feed, which is what we want. Now let's go to the profile. And okay, great. So it is working the way it should. And I actually want to upload one more photo just to make sure that the grid spacing is correct before I go and take a look at the layout. So my setup, nerd, share, attempting to upload. Took a long time to navigate us to the main feed. I didn't really like that, so I'll probably change something regarding that. Okay, that's good. So it looks like everything is good. The grid spacing is correct. Now let's take a look. I just want to take a look at this layout and figure out what's going on here. So let's go to the project pane and find our layout file, or sorry, the resources layout. And this should be fragment profile. And oh man, this is way smaller. Let's close that. So it's going to be in layout center profile. That's what we're going to be after. So let's go look for that layout center profile. Close that pane again. And what do we got here? That's the top. And here's our grid view. So there must be a background in one of these. Here, this is it. So this background right here, I should actually just change to, I'm going to cut it and go background just as a white background. And then we're going to go down here and just go over to where our grid view is. So this relative layout right here. And this one is where I'm going to paste that gray border bottom. Oh no, that's not right. We don't want the gray border bottom there. Let's go back up here. So we have that white color for the entire thing. And then basically what do we want? We want a gray border on the bottom of this layout right here. So it's going to be this linear layout. So let's paste that in there. And now this linear layout will have a gray border at the bottom and all the images should be below that. So let's run the app and see if we resolved our issue. To the profile. Cool. So that's good. I think the real Instagram actually has a little more spacing than that. I'm just going to open up mine really quick. Oh, maybe not. There's actually not even. Oh, there's a little gray border there. Okay, so that is the way it's supposed to look like, I guess. Just like that. That looks, yeah. All right, cool. So now we can upload photos. We can view them on our profile. Now the next steps are going to be actually clicking on these photos and opening it to a view like with Instagram. So if we were to go to Instagram and I was to click one of my photos, it takes us to a separate page where we can then view description, comments, likes, all that stuff. So in the next one, I will get started with that.